New Jersey Governor Christie is hosting 3 town hall meetings today, 1 in Iowa and 2 in the next battleground state, New Hampshire. I spoke with him for a few minutes before he left Des Moines about his prospects tonight.
Listen, first of all, it's a relief to have people vote, and so people, myself and you and others, will have some real results to talk about. But I feel like we're going to do better here than most people expect. My goal here always has been to be the top governor. If I could be the top governor coming out of Iowa, beat Governor Bush, beat Governor Kasich, beat Governor Huckabee, that would be a really good night for us. And when you look at the resources that Governor Bush has spent, nearly 25 times what we've spent in Iowa, if we actually beat him here tonight, that'll be a big story.
So you don't regret at all putting the time in here to Iowa, even though you might not, be at the top tier?
I don't, because I think Iowa and New Hampshire have to be looked at as an exacta. They have to be looked at as a tandem, and we're going to do very well in Iowa, and we're going to do even better in New Hampshire. So, yeah, I wanted to put the time in here. And plus, I think putting the time in here, Brett, makes you a better candidate, too. I've been challenged a lot by Iowa voters, a lot of good questions, and I just think it makes you a better candidate for every place you go after Iowa.
What do you hear most on the trail in these town halls and these Q&A sessions?
National security and homeland security. And it really changed, Brett, after Paris. Before Paris, there was a lot of talk on the economy, a lot of talk on immigration. And while we still get questions on that, I would say well over 50% of the questions I get now on the trail are on how you're going to fight terrorism, how you're going to fight ISIS, how you're going to protect the homeland, what are you going to do about Syria.
New Jersey, 9 downgrades while you are chief executive.
Yeah. Well, that's because I got left with a basket case of an economy, an $11 billion deficit on a $29 billion budget. But what Americans' tax reform has said is I vetoed more tax increases than any governor in American history. And these are old stats, Brett. You know what happened in 2015? New Jersey had its best private sector job growth year in 15 years. Over 5 different governors, the best year we've had in 15 years. We've now created 235,000 new private sector jobs in 6 years. And you know what happened in the 8 years before I was governor? 0 net new private sector jobs. And New Jersey's economy has really rebounded and doing much better, and it's going to do even better if we continue my policies.
Foreign policy. Today, a big suicide attack in Afghanistan. Talk about rejiggering our troop presence there because of the threat. You're president. What do you do about Afghanistan?
Listen, we have to dedicate troops in places where, over a long term, where we have made a major investment. We still have troops in Korea, Brett. We still have troops in Europe. Well, that's because we spent blood and treasure in those places to make advances, and we don't want to give it away. It's this president that has reversed that long-standing American policy by pulling all of our troops out of Iraq, and now we have ISIS controlling Iraq. Now he's pulled most of our troops out of Afghanistan. We see a reestablished Taliban and reconstituting al-Qaeda with terrorism camps. You cannot do that. If you make a commitment, we have to keep enough American troops in those places to be able to keep them stable and to save what we've already accomplished. This president blew it because he played politics with it.
Democrats say this email thing is no big deal. They say it doesn't factor in. But Bernie Sanders now says it's a serious legal issue.
Oh, he changed his mind too, huh?
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Is this really a death blow for Hillary Clinton and her political campaign?
She should be prosecuted, Brett. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, fact is, let's take the chronology here. First, she said that she didn't have any classified information on her server. Then she said she didn't have any information marked classified. Then we found emails where she was telling people to take the classified markings off the emails and fax them to her on a non-secure fax. Now she's saying, well, the only reason she did it was for convenience. Well, she put national security, homeland security, lives of intelligence agents at risk for her own convenience. Listen, David Petraeus got prosecuted for much less than this, as did Sandy Berger. And I hope and pray that the Justice Department will not politicize this and will do the right thing.
Where do you finish in Iowa?
It depends on what Dr. Carson does. It depends on what Rand Paul does here. I think the first 3 will be some combination of Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. And then after that, we're going to see how everybody else does. But I think I'm going to be the top governor here tonight. A lot of governors have fallen by the wayside when people thought I didn't have a chance in this race. You and I are standing here talking today, talking about what I'm going to do next. That's a good day for me.